Have you ever asked yourself, how did I get here? My name's Tasha, and I'm a wife, a mom of two, and a singer. And I've asked myself that question several times in my life.
Last time we spoke, you were actually taking a break to go to the Dove Awards and then getting right back on the road. You have stayed busy.
We are busy bees. It has been a very full season of life. I think I did 150 something shows last year, and being a wife and a mom, it's hard, but it's worth it.
Let me back up a few years. I've been singing as long as I can remember. I grew up in church, I became a Christian at a young age, and later a worship leader. But then life took some unexpected turns.
And now on top of the award shows, the touring, being a wife, being a mother, you've decided to add author to your resume.
A couple of years ago, I released a song called Look What You've Done, and it inspired the title of my new book, and it's really been the theme of my life so far.
What was it that happened that made you decide you wanted to write a book, and not just a book, but a book that people need to read?
So I started to write down stories where there was maybe an interesting thing about my life, but something that God had shown me during that season. And I just started to write them down so I wouldn't forget. And then over time, that grew into 40-some thousand words. And I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this. I love it because it's short chapters that you can pick up and put back down, and a little bit of my life meets psychology, meets scripture. It's sort of like a memoir meets devotional.
Now, I have to say, you were pretty vulnerable in this book. Why did you decide to open up in this way?
I think with how vulnerable I was in the book, I really tried to just say things I thought would help people. And I think when you are fully honest about your story, that's the thing that really helps people.
It was fun and it was glamorous, and for many it would seem like I was living a dream. But behind the lights and the excitement, I was really struggling. And I had been for a long time. I was searching for truth. I was searching for freedom from the lies I had begun to believe.
Now, I love the subtitle. I want to read it to you. The Lies We Believe and the Truth That Sets Us Free. Can you talk about some of the lies that you were telling yourself and the truth that broke through them?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest lies that I believed, I have to prove to the world that I am good. And I've spent my life trying to protect myself and prove to the world that I'm good, and it was exhausting. I didn't know the power this had over my life. The enemy got a hook in me from a young age that caused me to believe that. And the enemy's not strong enough to take us out. We're made in the image of God. But if he can get us to believe a lie, we'll just self-destruct. And so that's what I was doing. I was self-destructing and trying to prove to myself, God, others, that I was good.
Now, the lies took you to some pretty dark and low points.
God, what is happening? What am I doing? What are you doing?
Take us back to them.
It's interesting you ask that, because I share in the book about trying to take my life, and I share details in the book that I don't normally share when I speak about that subject. And, when I tried to do that and when I was experiencing those emotions, I have to say I still didn't know the truth. A failed suicide attempt, that was a lowest of low, but it didn't free me. I still had to experience freedom later in life. Now, that lowest of low did shock me enough to cause me to change my trajectory. But I definitely needed to hear truth, and it wasn't until my 30s that I heard that truth. I needed to hear Jesus say, "You are worthy, you are good, you are innocent, you are pure." When I heard those words over my life straight from him, that's when I just felt so free. And I felt free ever since from those lies. And it wasn't until 30 years old that sitting on that couch that I talked about, that I actually felt free. And I feel like the freest person I know now.
Now, I imagine your hope is sharing these low points from your life will allow those experiencing similar problems to connect.
Yeah, I think when you are honest about what you're actually feeling, the guilt and shame we feel from what we think and what we feel. And when you hear someone's story, when it's an honest account, when they don't hold back, man, it makes you feel seen. And I think when I experienced God's truth replacing the lies in my life, I felt His love in a way that I had never felt before. I knew that He loved me. I knew that He adored me. He adored my singing voice. He loved when I worshiped Him, when I led worship. All the things that that were in my heart to do, I felt a freedom to do like never before because I knew how God felt about me. I am literal, living proof right here sitting in this chair of how much God can take a person and turn it around.
After searching all over the world for answers to my soul's questions, I can say with confidence that Jesus is unmatched in His willingness to love, forgive, and bless.